Hey, what's up everybody? David McVandy here, and welcome to the Galaxy Note 8 battery life test. A user commented on my Galaxy Note 8 review video and said that he wanted to see a battery life test, so I told him I would make one, so here it is. So I split this video into two segments. Each segment spans 50% of the battery life. The first segment is made up of 4 rounds, and in each round I ran a different type of application. And the second segment, I just carried around my phone with me and I recorded myself every few hours just to show you guys where the battery life was at. So you're still going to see the battery get drained from beginning to end. It's just going to be split into 2 different segments. So without wasting any more time, let's get to the speed test. As you can see, I have my Galaxy S6 out as well. I'm going to use it just for timing everything. So I took my Note 8 off the charge about 5 minutes before I started this video. So at the beginning of this video, the battery was at 99%, and that's going to be our start off point. So for the first round of the first segment of this video, I will be playing a 2-hour long 1080p video, which is actually just a bunch of shorter videos that I stitched together in Adobe Premiere. And I chose 1080p because most video content out there is in 1080p. So with the battery at 99%, I began the video and started the stopwatch, and off we went. About 30 minutes in, the battery was at 96%. It was actually a little better than what I was expecting. As someone who uses this phone on a daily basis, I was honestly expecting twice as much battery loss by now. Roughly 1 hour in, the battery dropped to 93%, and that basically continued the trend of 3% per half hour. At this point, I also changed the video size to full screen, but because this has an 18:5:9 aspect ratio, there's still black bars on the side, as you see. A half an hour after that, and about 1 hour and 30 minutes into the speed test, the Note 8 had dropped to 89% for a total of 10% battery loss since we first began the test. For the final half hour of the video round, I decided to crop into the video even further just to see if that would impact the battery at all. And because this is how I normally watch all my videos. The Note 8 completed the video round with a total drop of 13%, and the phone was at 86% going into the audio round. For the audio round, I stitched together a 3-minute song to make a 2-hour long continuous MP3. Since audio is a lot less demanding than video, I was expecting better battery performance in this round. After the song basically played for an hour, the battery was at 83%. With the audio and video rounds over, it was time for the more graphic intensive applications. So we moved on into the video game round, and the first video game I chose was Modern Combat 5 because it's a game I actually play quite often. Now I didn't actually play the game during the speed test, but I opened the application and just let the game stay at the home screen for half an hour. Now, I had a feeling the Note 8 was going to start showing its limitations in this round, and I was right. The battery dropped 9% in just a half hour. I then switched games to X-Plane 10, which is another game I play, and if you guys aren't familiar with this game, it's an airplane simulator. So this time I actually decided to include some gameplay. I set the controls to autopilot and just let the game run exactly as it was. So about 1 hour into the game, the Note 8 was at 61%. As you see, there was a significant loss of battery life. So if you're running less demanding applications, then you can expect some pretty decent battery life. It's only when you start running more graphic intensive applications that the limitations of the Note 8's battery become apparent. So after the video game round, we entered into the 4th and last round of the first segment. And this round consisted of recording 4K video until the battery reached 50%. If my experiences with the Note 8 have taught me anything, is that the camera depletes the battery pretty quickly. Now, I usually don't record in 4K myself just because it's hard to edit and it really drains the battery, but I chose to use 4K for this part of the video because I just wanted to show you guys how much battery 4K video recording actually uses. Unfortunately, the Note 8 only lets you record 10 minutes of 4K video at a time, so I had to keep re-hitting the record button. And not surprisingly at all, it only took 25 minutes for the Note 8 to hit 50%. So at this point, the first round was done, and for the next half of the battery life, I just carried the phone around with me and used it like I normally would, and that's just using it to call people, send some texts, browsing the web a little bit because I have a laptop as well, so I switch between the two. So I stopped the stopwatch in the first round at about 4:51 p.m. and by 6:37 p.m. I was at 28%. A couple hours later at 8:46 I was at 16%. And finally, at about 10:39 p.m. the phone had dropped to 1%. And I was hoping I could record the moment the phone actually completely died, and I did get to. So at 10:42 p.m. the battery was completely drained. And that's it for the video, guys. I hope both rounds gave you guys an idea of what this phone's battery is capable of. Like I said earlier in the video, I was actually surprised that the Note 8 lasted as long as it did in the first round. However, the battery life is still not that great, and it's the weakest part of this phone. I really hope Samsung puts a better battery in the Note 9, but I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. And that's it for the video, guys. Thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, consider subscribing. If you enjoyed the video, then give it a like. Thanks to all the people who have subscribed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.